Hey guys, and welcome to another video on the pure1.com YouTube channel. My name is Vasilis Belitiotis, 3 times winner of the official iRacing Nurburgring 24-hour race in top split, and in today's video I will teach you how to master the legendary Nurburgring Nordschleife. As always, if you want to get the setup from this video or any data, check out pure1.com, and without talking too much, let's jump straight into the track guide. Alright, starting a lap, crossing the start finish line and passing the BMW grandstands on the left. We're heading into turn 1, where we are already reaching our first braking point of this lap, which is quite an unusual one, because for this corner I am using the bend in the pit exit line. You can see it right now right above my cursor. As you can see, the line goes all straight, and then there's like a little bend which leans toward the right side. You can as well use the black marker on the left side. That might be a bit easier for you. But this will be our braking point for turn 1, where we also will hit a peak braking of 80%, avoiding the ABS at all costs. And we are going to position our car on the left side of the racing track before entering into turn 1. We want to be on the curb with the left side of the car, and we want to maintain a very smooth braking line, as you can see, because if you trail brake that way, eventually this will be the way of rotating your car for turn 1. And also for turn 1, we don't want to cut the curb too much, because that will unsettle the car quite a bit. We just want to hit the curb slightly with the right side of the car before being quite aggressively back on power. It's like a short pump of throttle right before we hit the brakes once again at a low percentage, just to get the car rotated into the left side. Very important here now for the sequence from turn 1 to turn 2. For that curb, you don't want to be on the throttle before hitting that curb. You want to go on the curb, and right when you come off it, you're hitting the throttle again. Because if you hit the throttle too early, you will unsettle the rear, you will start sliding, you will lose time. So make sure to hit the throttle only right after you come off that curb, and then you can be quite aggressively on it, very fast on 100% power back again. Additionally, you can also turn the traction control off for that short sequence, or TC toggle. This will give you some extra hundreds out of the exit. It's free time, and all esports drivers are using that method. Going into the fourth curves now. For that corner we have a pretty specific braking point, because it's the end of the cones here on the right side, or the point I use are the black tire markers here on the racing track. Once I reach them, I go off the throttle, slightly brake up to 30%, and I want to completely hug the inside curb here. I want to be also very early on throttle, because I want to have the rear to rotate with me through the corner. We can also like completely throttle out and position our cars here on the right side. That way you just gain most of the time, because I know many people like to enter less speed into the corner, and they want to position their car on the left side before entering into the upcoming corner, but that is not as fast as if you completely carry a lot of speed through here and have like a tighter line into the upcoming corner. But for that corner, for the exit of the fourth curves, position your car on the middle, have like a peak braking of 60%. You can quickly come off the brakes as well when trail brake and hug the inside completely. And when you arrive the middle of that curb, you can completely floor it basically. And you want to use all the track on the exit. You want to be completely on the green carpet here. Accelerating out of the corner. Once again, you could use also the TC toggle in the previous corner at the exit. You just gain some free time. And now for the hairpin, we want to completely take the kind of stone curve on the left side. I don't know what the English word for that is. If you know it, write it into the comments. But what I'm aiming here for is, once I reach like the kind of the middle distance of that curb. I'm gonna hit the brakes, hit like 65% of a peak braking, and I'm gonna do like a, yeah, some kind of a double apex here, or right apex, because I don't want to be too tight here. I want to position my car on the middle. That way I can just carry way more speed out of the exit right here. In the middle of it, I'm just gonna cut back inside, floor the car very early, turn the traction control off, so I can gain that extra time on the exit, completely use the green carpet here once again. And for the Schumacher S, you want to completely take the curb on the outside before entering into that section. It's easy flat out in the Mustang. Stay close to every curb and use the whole track to your advantage. And when exiting that corner, it's very important to not let yourself swing too far to the outside, because that way you will just lose a lot of time. You want to be like a bit on the middle or on the right side of the track. Passing the Goodyear Bridge, we want to brake like 50 meters before the 100 board for the upcoming corner. Slide braking, we can slightly touch the green carpet here, or the AstroTurf on the outside, but be careful, don't touch it too much, because you can easily get an off check right here. I think this is already like quite the maximum. 60%, we're gonna trail brake quickly off the brake again to get the car to rotate. Hit the AstroTurf on the inside totally. Back on power. Oh, we have a blurry screen. Back on power very early. Swing yourself towards the outside with the car. And for the next corner, make sure to use all of the track on the outside to enter the upcoming corner. You will have a quite long idle time where you have no inputs running. The reason I was on the brake here for quite some time is just because I wanted to have the rear as stable as it could be, because you'll feel the car maybe slipping out with the rear here a little bit. So yeah, quite some idle time, maybe with a tiny bit of brake input just to have the rear stable. And once you feel the car stabilized, you can hug the inside curb and fully floor it out of that corner. The car has the grip to do that. Make sure to use all of the track on the exit once again. Flat out, close on the curb, don't go over it, you will lose some time. And for the Vedol chicane, very tricky spot. Many drivers have their techniques. In this video I will show mine, because many drivers for that corner shift down to 3rd gear, but I am just going to shift down to 4th gear, because personally I think you can carry some more speed through the corner by doing that. But let's just start at the beginning here. We want to take the 50 meter board as our braking point. The cockpit, it looks a bit closer than from the chase cam. Want to brake 55% of a peak braking. I'm just shifting down to 4th gear. If you want to do it safe, take 3rd gear, but I personally think you can push the limits absolutely with the 4th gear, with carrying a lot of speed through the corner. If you try it at the first time, possibly you will struggle with that, but if you really master it, you can gain quite a bit of time on it, in my opinion. But yeah, you want to cut the first curb quite much, but not too much. You don't want to hit the big part of it here on the left side where my cursor is. You want to be right on the edge here of hitting it. Quickly back on throttle once you pass it, otherwise you will understeer to the understeer straight. As said as well with the first curb, also in the second curb, cut it completely, don't touch the big thing here. And you want to be completely early on the power here. As said, you can carry way more speed with the 4th gear, in my opinion. Make sure to avoid also the outside curb right here, because it will kind of compromise your racing line for the upcoming corner, which is also the start of the Nordschleife. Make sure to position your car here in the middle. And as a braking point, I'm using the braking markers, or like the tire marks, which you can see right here. Right before I pass them, I go off the power, quickly shift down to 3rd gear, up to 2nd gear, stay in 2nd, and you don't want to be too tight on the inside curb too early. You want to keep like a middle lane, and then once you're passing the left tire wall here, then you want to cut in. cut in early on power to get the rear to rotate. You gotta be very careful here on traction though, and on power, because if you power too early out of the corner, you'll make the rear to go loose, you will lose time, and yeah, eventually you might end up with a spin as well. So be patient on power, start with a high percentage like 80%, but be careful with the 100% peak throttle input. Yeah, use all of the track here, completely to the outside. And for the first corner of the Nordschleife, the Sabine Schmitz-Kurve, once you pass the orange barrier here on the right side, you're gonna do a slight turn towards the right. In the past, people were completely going over both of the white lines to enter for the first corner, but in my opinion it kinda slows your entry speed down too much. You will lose a bit too much time with that, in my opinion. So you can be like over the white line with your right side of the car, in my opinion, but that's the maximum. And you also, for the first corner, want to aim for quite a late apex right here. You don't want to be too tight too early. Swing the car like that into the corner, you will feel the camber will grip so much here if you do it like that. And once you reach that kind of point, you can basically floor it out of the corner, and right after, at like this point, you want a TC toggle. At least that's what I did, because you can gain like half a tenth with that just in that corner, in my opinion. Out of the corner, completely floor it. If needed, you can also touch the outside curb here. I did it many times before. It doesn't cost you too much time, maybe like 100 or so if you hit it wrong. But yeah, just remember, if you're too early maybe on throttle here, and if you will touch that curb, it's not too bad. You can still continue your lap. Flat out through the first part of the Hatzenbach. Completely position your car on the left side here to open up as much as you can for the next corner, which is flat out easily, close to the curb. And now a very, very, very specific part of the track. Now it's the real Hatzenbach is starting, and we are going to take the graffiti on the ground as our braking point. As you can see here, there's like this white graffiti on the track, and once it kinda ends, we are going to hit the brakes at a small percentage, 50% at maximum. We're gonna swing towards the inside right here for the first part of Hatzenbach. Third gear into the second part, and now it's very important to be as early on the power as you can, because that way the rear will rotate like you've never felt before. You can power out completely out of the corner. The car will grip. It's insane. You gotta be as early as you can on the throttle exiting this corner. For that part, cut the inside. You can go over the grass with the left side of the car. It's not a problem. The car can handle that. Once you come off that curb and off the grass, you do want to hit the brake after slightly. 10% at max. Fully attack the inside curb here with the right side of the car. Hit the power slightly just for a little boost. Once we go off it, hit the brakes once again to get the car to rotate for the exit. Quite a short idle time, because like that the car will rotate at its finest. Once we reach the curb here though, like the middle part of it, we're gonna floor it again, using the curb on the outside as well to help us. And yeah, for the last part of that section, we are going to use the graffiti once again as our braking point. As you can see here, it's kinda ending. When it's a bit brighter, when the track is a little bit brighter, when the sun is still shining, you can also spot like a shadow here. This is the braking point I use. I know people don't like to use shadows as braking points. We saw it under many comments under our videos we've posted. But in like day conditions, this is basically the braking point I use. But for a tiny bit darker conditions, you can use the graffiti as your braking point. Slightly hit the brake to get the car rotating, 20%. hit the inside curb completely to get the car grip to its maximum. Early on throttle again, as you can see here. Once I'm on the curb, I'm hitting the throttle immediately. Close to 100, small lift because I felt the rear going like a bit away from me. But I quickly was on 100% once again. And if you want to gain some free time, cut this part of the track as well with the right side of your car. Careful though, if you cut it too much, you get an ink quite easily. This is basically the maximum you can do. But yeah, like that, you can just straighten your exit way easier and you gain some free time on the exit. Use all of the track, and you can also use the exit curb here after the last section. And now we have a quite long straight ahead of us, which is not really a straight, but because right now here at Flugplatz we are heading into a flat out right, and it's quite important to notice that for this corner we want to completely open up. So you will see me after going uphill, I will do a slight turn towards the left side, a little bit over the grass, so I'm on the tarmac here with the left side of the car. Like that I can just open way more and gain more time for the exit to the straight. So I can fully take it flat with a tighter line, close to the curbs, flat out, and try to stay to the as much to the left side as you can. Heading into Flugplatz. Schwedenkreuz is the corner called, I'm sorry. Which is also flat out. We want to stay completely close to the curb on the left side. Flat completely. If you do happen to fuel save, this is probably the best corner where you can do it. You can basically already lift from here on, gain a lot of fuel, and maybe lose like what, 800 or so, close to a tenth if you do it properly. But if you're on a full push lap like this one, your braking point for that corner is the tarmac change, the asphalt change, which you can see right here. You can see the asphalt here is a bit brighter than the one right here. You want to brake like 70 meters before it happens. Don't panic here on the brakes. This is what I told a lot of people, because if you brake too much, if you're hitting the ABS, you'll go straight, or you won't have the necessary braking performance for the upcoming corner, and like that the car will also struggle to rotate. Make sure to hit a peak of 90%. You can slightly hit the ABS, but make sure to trail off the brake as quickly as you can again, and try to stay as far to the inside as you can, and in the middle of that section basically you can start to floor it out of the corner again. What I mean by the middle part, the curb starts here, the curb ends there basically, and once we're in the middle we can floor it out of the corner. Also when driving, you will have the feeling in the steering wheel when the car is gripping, and once it's like ready to exit the corner here perfectly. I think this is like one of the corners where you can feel it quite easily in the steering wheel. You just got to make sure to stay as tight as you can, and then you will just feel the rear positioned perfectly. So if you know, it's time to floor it here. Use the outside curb for your advantage. Going through the Fuchsröhre. Flat out, close to the curbs everywhere. And when we are passing that uphill section, and when we see the sign on the right side which says Sturzgefahr. We are not driving a motorcycle, thankfully, but it's still a quite dangerous corner also when you drive a car like that. But basically once we pass the sign on the right side, this is our sign to start braking a tiny bit for that short section. It's going to be a small tap on the brakes, a shift down to 5th gear. We want to completely attack the curb here on the left side. And it's also important to mention, you can attack it, yes, but if you attack it a tiny bit too much, if you go too much over the car with the floor, or too much over the curb with the floor of your car, you will unsettle the car totally and you will end up in that barrier right here. So you gotta be careful. I will replay it right now in the cockpit cam as well. Again, 5th gear, you can cut it that much, but also not too much anymore, if you know what I mean. So also during the 24-hour race, you might want to play the safe card. Maybe cut it a little bit less and lose a bit of time, but that way you won't have the car damaged. And you can continue the race easier. Once we are off that curb basically, or once we're here, we're gonna pump the throttle again for a quite short time before heading into the beginning of the next corner, where we shift down to 4th gear as well, shortly after into 3rd. We're gonna hit the peak braking here of 60 or 70%, let's say. We're gonna go quickly off it. Once we hit the 3rd gear, we want to be as tight to the curb here on the right side as possible. And now we are also going to hit the throttle again to get the car to rotate and to not lose too much time on the exit. Keep a middle line entering into the next section. Basically, you can also use the sign on the right side, which says Adenauer Forst, as your throttle point. Right before you pass it, you will floor it again for a short time. And once you see the sign here, you can see we are working a lot with those street signs or road signs. Once we are passing the sign on the right side, we will start hitting the brakes again. 45 to 50%, keeping a middle line. And we want to play a lot with the brake, because we want to trail brake. We want to get the rear to rotate. We don't want to understeer in this crucial part. We want to be as close to the curb here on the left side as possible. Once we're reaching it as well, the middle of it, we're going to hit the power. We're going to be back on power for quite some time. For a short time also on 100%. We quickly go off it though, as we want to rotate for the next corner. Very, very, very short idle time where we have no inputs running, as you can see here. But quickly after, we are completely flooring it out of that corner. We want to aim to be as close to the inside curb as possible, but we don't want to touch it, because as you can see, it's very, very high. Even though the exit curb is also very high, we want to aim to hit that one at full ease, because like that we can just gain the maximum amount of time on the exit out of this corner. So just throttle out early here and use the exit curb for your advantage. Like that you gain a lot of time through the Adenauer Forst. We have that short straight right here where nothing major is going on. Metzgersfeld though is this next section called. This is quite a crucial corner, I would say, where things can go wrong quite quickly. I will use the braking point I am using is the asphalt change here once again. You can see we are on the darker side, and once we see it happening, when the asphalt is getting a bit brighter, we are going to turn the car. Sorry, braking point was the wrong word for that. We're starting to turn. We are lifting quite slightly, because if we are taking that flat, we will end up in the barrier right there. The car sadly doesn't have Formula 1 downforce, so we slightly lift, entering through the corner. But once we are in the middle, we can go fully back on power again. Going to Metzgersfeld, and the braking point we are using here, I think it's better to view it on the cockpit cam. You can see like those stone curbs again. If you remember it from the beginning, you can see them here on the right side, and you can see them also ending here right before they end. This is when I can't see them anymore with my car, I know I need to brake for the upcoming corner. Very important here, don't brake too much. Brake like 60% and try to have a consistent braking line, as you can see here. And you want to quickly trail off the brake again, because if you're not trailing off too quickly, you will go straight. Like that, like trailing off quickly, the rear will once again rotate very nicely. We also have like the brake bias quite low in this car for the setup. And we want to aim to be as close to the inside curb as possible, because in the inside here you have the most grip. And as you can see, I'm quite early on throttle again. That's right. Once I feel the car grip, you can see it here very slowly on the very slightly on the replay. Let me play it in slow motion. We're turning the car, and now it's like gripping, if you can see it. You should yeah, you should maybe replay this quite a bit. Here it starts gripping, and once I feel the car gripping, I'm flooring it out of the corner, basically, because I know the car is capable to be under control under that under that much throttle input, completely using all of the track here. And we want to aim to be as close to the exit curb here as possible. And for Kallenhardt, which is another hairpin, we are once again using a sign on the left side, the same one as in Adenauer Forst as our braking point. We're going to use the same sign once again as in Adenauer Forst as our braking point. So once we're reaching it, we're hitting the brakes, 50% peak. We're keeping it for quite a longer time than usual, and we're going to trail brake a little bit slower through that corner. But what we're aiming here for is we want to stay first of all in third gear, and we want to cut in quite early. We don't want to be too far to the inside though, too early. We want to stay like, we want to have like a safety distance to the curb on the inside. But once we're nearly at the exit, we want to cut back in, maybe hit the white line with the right side of your car, and just throttle out pretty early, using all of the exit curb here on the outside. It's very important to be as early on the throttle there as possible. Flat out through that section, going into miss hit miss, where we use the end of the curb on the left side right here as our braking point. When the cockpit looks a bit better, once we're kind of reaching it, or once we can see the that little bending right here, this is where I know I need to brake. First, we position our cars a bit to the left side. We don't want to cut in too early. We want to keep a tiny bit of a distance, because if you cut in too early, you will just you can't go fully on the throttle at the exit. That's why the corner is called miss hit miss. Missing that part, hitting this, and missing the curb here. Flat out through the section, going into the slowest point of the racing track, which is the Wehrseifen. The braking point I use here are the tire marks on the racing track. You can see them. It's difficult to spot them in these kind of conditions when the track is not that bright. But if you're racing at like 1 p.m., 2 p.m., you can see the track, the tire scratches, the tire marks a bit easier. This is our braking point, and here it's very important to hit a very, very good braking line. As you can see here at the beginning, then okay, we're back. So, as you can see, at the beginning, like the initial braking phase, you can see us hitting a quite big percentage, like 60% of a peak, and right before we enter, or like before we cross that curb here on the right side, that new section, we are releasing the brake once again, and after we pass that section, we start hitting the brakes once again. It's quite complicated, and I hope that I can explain it to you in an in a way to understand it easily. We are braking here, high percentage, going off, and right after we pass that bend here, we go on the brakes once again, quite hard as well, because we want to get the car to stop, basically. And for Wehrseifen, we don't want to have like a line which is towards the outside. We want to stay totally tight, stay close to the first part of the curb, then swing to the middle, and then cut back in. And once we reach that part, we can floor it out of the corner. TC toggle here as well, otherwise you will lose some unnecessary time. Going into Bereitscheid, where we have the Wall of Champions here on the right side, but that's not the point for now. we are going to use the orange marker here, like the wall, as our braking point, or we can also use the end of the curb on the right side. Yeah, like a constant brake, 55% of the peak. Shifting down to third gear, aiming for the inside curb. We want to be as early on the throttle now, again, as possible. Using all of the track on the outside, but make sure to avoid that curb. If you hit this curb, you're going into the wall of champions, into the concrete wall. It will be a lot of damage, so yeah, avoid that at all costs. Position your car on the outside here for X-Mühle, as this will be probably one of the most difficult sections of this track. So from the cockpit it looks a little bit like you're going completely blind through that corner, or you don't know what's going on basically. Position your car on the left side, and for that corner it might not feel right and it might sound very weird as well, but you wanna use that curb to your advantage here on the outside. You wanna hit it completely before entering. From the far chase, I think you can see it the best way. Hit the curb before entering, and right before it ends, you wanna start turning in for that corner. Third gear, quite a long idle time, and once you feel the car grip again, when it's like even out on the ground, you wanna hit the throttle, completely flooring it out of the corner, out of X-Mühle. Also wanna be very tight right here to the curb. And then use all of the exit curb as well. We want to be on that curb as well with the left side of the car. Flooring it out. Going into the famous Niki Lauda corner, which is this one, where he had his crash. And for the upcoming corner, the Bergwerk, which is also, at least for me, a very difficult corner. We're going to use the Bergwerk sign as our braking point. We're gonna hit 50% here again. Fourth, third gear, keeping a middle line through the corner, or like for the entry of it, and then cutting back in. And once we cut back in and we are close to the curb, we are flooring it out of the corner. Important here, the maximum you can do is touching the curb like that, like a tiny bit with the left side of the car, as I am doing it. If you hit that curb fully with the left side of your car, you will probably understeer totally and go into that wall. It happened to me many times, so I'm just talking out of experience. You can be very close to this curve and close to that one as well, but don't go over it. Otherwise, yeah, first of all, you will lose a lot of time for the exit. You will compromise your exit quite a lot, and you will probably be in the wall as well. Perfect. Now it's quite a long straight ahead of us, which is nothing more than flat out basically, and staying close to every curb we have. It's the famous Kesselchen straight as well, which is directing us into the one of the most bravest corner in the world. Directly translated, it will be the brave corner. In Germany it's called Mutkurve. It differs from car to car. Many can take it flat out, also considering the conditions you have. Just make sure to use all of the curb here on the right side. From the far chase, I think you can see it at best. And once we are once it ends, we are starting to turn in for the corner, and we want to be very, very tight at the Mutkurve right here. As said, in the Ford right now, we're taking it flat out. It's probably the easiest car you can do it with. And I mean, we're maintaining a speed of 241 km/h at minimum. This is insane. So you gotta be very brave to do it flat out. You can see myself on the reel there wiggling a little bit, because I felt the rear getting quite a bit loose. But if you master it and if you can take it flat out, it's a free 10th for you. So it might be worth testing it out. Flat to this part as well. Make sure to position your car quite to the left side, and once you see that bend here going to the left, or once you basically pass that 137 sign here, it's your sign to turn in for that small flat out right corner, close to the curb here as well. And yeah, for the Steilstrecke, a very, very difficult section. We want to basically stay first of all in the middle, because you will see the curb here on the left side. It won't go straight, it goes left, and then it goes like it bends to the right side. So if you're too far on the left, you gotta correct your correct your positioning of the car while braking, which is not optimal. So keep like a middle line, so you can have a straight line for braking into the corner. Don't panic here. 60 to 70%. We want to also stay for quite a long time at a low percentage with the brake, just to get the car to rotate. We don't want to be too tight here. We want to be like a tiny bit to the middle. Keep like a safety distance of like 2 meters to the curb, and then we want to cut back in. Using all of the track now on the outside, you can additionally also, as I do here, take the curb here a little bit. So the most important thing here is to be as early on power as possible. You can also TC toggle out of here again. Heading into the carousel. Very, very special corner where we use the bending in that curb as our braking point. As you can see, it goes straight, and then here's the bend right above my cursor. Stay in third gear and then slightly brake 55% for a short time. Second gear, and when going in, like as you can see, here it's our peak, and then the more we go in, the more we go off the brake. And yeah, you gotta be very patient here with the power. It's all about it's all about your feeling in the steering wheel you have, because it's very, very, very easy to understeer and go out of the carousel, which will be crucial for your lap, because you will easily lose like half a second to 6/10 with that. As you can see here, people can tell you whatever. Also with like, you gotta maintain like a smooth throttle line, or like a smooth throttle input. I'm showing you how I do it for the last 4 to 5 years. I'm pumping the throttle, as you can see, bop, 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 and full. I also tell the guys in the coachings I do to do that technique, and up till now it worked. So you might want to try it out for yourself. It's like, because I don't want to overslow the car in this corner, but I still want to maintain the grip, I'm like pumping the throttle here a bit. I'm playing with the pedals. It's hard to describe. I guess it's just a bit like, I do it naturally as well, because I don't think too much about it when driving. But yeah, pumping the throttle can be quite a good technique in my opinion. And once we basically hit that red graffiti, I think it's better to show it here in the cockpit. Once we are hitting or passing that red graffiti, we can floor it out of the corner. Well, not completely floor it out of the corner, but it's our sign to start preparing the exit for the carousel. Yeah, that might have been a tiny bit too early of an exit, but it's not too much of an issue. I think I didn't lose too much time with it. You want to exit it as early as you can, though, and you want to also hit the TC toggle right here, because traction control can kill your time a little bit right here. Flat out into the uphill section, going into Hohe 8. The braking point right here is the start of the curb on the right side again. We stay in fourth gear first of all, but we're going to have a smooth braking input going into the left side. As you can see, 10% here for quite a long time, as we want to stabilize the rear. Aim for that inside curb. You want to completely attack it but not touch it. Do a small pump of throttle once again once you pass that curb. Short time of 100%, and then for that right part, we are going to stay close to the curb again and fully throttle it out here and use the track on the exit. We also, this is crucial now, we want to hit the curb on the left side as well with the left side of our car, because we want to have the maximum opening, and we want to gain as much time as you can on the entry for the beginning part of Hohe 8. So fourth gear, flat out, use all of the curb here on the left side, and basically it's kind of a stomach feeling in my opinion. the braking point. I personally brake here with like, how can I say it? I don't have a braking point for this corner. If you really want one, you can use the graffiti here. Right before it starts, you can start braking. Third gear, stay on the curb for quite a long time, because if you go off it too early, you won't have a good angle for the next corner. You want to stay quite late on it, quite a long time on it, and you want to exit it quite late. You want to go off it quite late. And like that, you will also just feel the car gripping with an insane amount. You want to completely attack the inside curb here, but not touch it. Be on the power as early as you can, and completely swing yourself towards the outside. You can also hit the curb here on the left side to stabilize your car. You won't hurt the car at all. Flat out. Entering. Yeah, we are now at the entry of Wippermann, where we here are flat out, but once we pass that orange mark on the barrier, we're going to lift a tiny bit with the throttle. We want to lift like with 20% of it for a short time, because otherwise we just carry too much speed into here, which will eventually make us understeer, and we will compromise our exit, or like our exit for the rest of the section. Basically, once we are quite close to the asphalt change, once again, as you can see, here it's dark, here it's bright. We're kind of braking, still staying in fourth gear. The whole section is fourth gear. We want to aim for the inside curb, and personally, I think it's better to aim completely for the inside curb here now as well. It will first of all be easier for you to master it, and for this part you can just carry way more exit speed throughout the section. So what I'm doing here, fourth gear, braking, aiming for the inside curb, and then completely attacking the curb here on the inside, like going fully over it, as you can see here on the replay. That way I can just floor it from here on and completely take this part flat out. As you can see, fully attack it to its maximum here in Wippermann. And for that upcoming corner, yeah, it might look a bit weird again, but it's working. You want to be on the left side of your car, basically on the curb or a tiny bit on the grass. Once that curb ends, we want to start hitting the brakes, going into third gear, aiming for the inside curb. Here you have the most grip. If you are a tiny bit too much on the left side, you will understeer. So make sure to be as close to the right side as possible. Hit the throttle very, very early here in third gear. Might as well want a TC toggle out of here. Use all of that speed and use all of the track here on the outside. Completely use the curb. Going into Esports, braking right before the sign. Third gear, slight braking, 20%. Aim for the inside curb. Stay tight as well. Very tight. Because here the banking of the corner is just very, very special. If you're a bit too far off the line, you will understeer. So make sure this is the maximum. Stay as close as you can. And for the entry of Brünnchen, we want to use the track completely on the left side. Be on that stone curb. Once it ends, this is our sign to turn in for the corner. Hit the brakes with 20%. Quickly go off it. And when we're here, we're just flooring it out of the corner. Very easy to get an off check right here at the exit of Brünnchen. So make sure to be on it as maximum with the left side of the car. Stay on it for a long time, and once we are hitting basically the transition here, when this curb ends here completely, we are turning in and braking for the upcoming corner. Third gear still. Stay tight, and once we reach that part, or once we hit the graffiti once again, as you can see, here's the graffiti, and then there's like a little gap. Once we're hitting that graffiti again, we are back on power. Swinging ourselves towards the outside here, using all of the curb on the outside completely with the car, that way we can just maximize the exit. Yeah, ice curve now. Difficult corner, as the braking point can be a bit difficult. Again, use the asphalt change when it starts to get a bit darker. Brake 40%, Be very, very smooth with the throttle. Aim for the inside again and be on the throttle as early as you can. As you can see, I'm already here on throttle a tiny bit. Using all of the track and using all of that exit curb in ice curve. I'm not too sure if you can do like that line in real life, because I know many cars have totaled themselves taking the curb like that. But in the sim you can do it, so completely use that curb. Might as well want a TC toggle here again, because you're gaining quite some time if you have it off and you go off the curb again. Because if you have the TC on, the car will make like weird noises, you know, those traction control noises, and you want to avoid it. You want to gain some free time, so might as well want a TC toggle right here. Heading into that little straight before going into Pflanzgarten. Yeah, very special corner, very nice corner, one of my favorite ones. And what you need to aim for here is, once before you enter the jump, kinda lift a tiny bit, just to how's it called? Just to make the jump smoother for yourself. Lift a bit. Once you hit the ground, you're gonna start braking a tiny for a short time. Shifting down to 4th gear. Immediately aiming for the inside here. Don't touch the curb, just stay close to it. Here is all the grip you will have for the lap. For the section, sorry. And your aim is also to be as early back on the throttle as you can. Right now on this lap, I kinda understeered a tiny bit. Yeah, it might be difficult to do the complete perfect lap over this track. It was also the beginning of the stint. It will get easier throughout the stint as well, when the tires are getting worn and when you have less fuel in the car. But you wanna aim to be as early on the throttle as you can, and to completely hug the inside here, because you wanna stay completely flat out for all of that part. Use all of the track to your advantage. You can also use the curb here on the outside. Here, for that second jump, you want to be close to the inside curb, but don't go anywhere on it or something like that, because if you go on it, you completely go into the wall, crashing. I've seen many people do it, so just stay close to it. Flat out. And for the entry of Belofes, we want to kind of position our car again on the left side. Can also maybe scratch that curb a tiny bit before entering into Belofes, which is all flat out. Staying in 5th gear, using completely the rev limiter. When you're alone, at least you should do that. If you have a car in front, you might want to shift to 6th gear, just to not lose too much on that power time. And once we see that sign here on the right side, the 179 sign, we know we are going to start braking for the beginning of Schwalbenschwanz, where we are staying in 5th gear. Asphalt change, now we're turning in again, close to the curb, 4th gear, and a small pump to the throttle again. And now this is a very tricky part. I don't know if you can see it. You have a bright spot here, and then it's going dark again. Once it goes dark again, right above my cursor here, this is where I brake. Up, I brake, stay to the right side, but I don't brake too much. If I brake too much, I understeer. So we want to hit the brake slightly and go off it very quickly to get the car to rotate. Use the 3rd gear, aim for the inside, and once we know it grips, we go back on throttle. We're using all of the track on the outside, be on the curb with the right side of the car, and stay on it for quite some time. Heading into the second carousel, we want to still be on the curb, and once we brake and we start turning in, then we're leaving it. We want to completely take it as tight as we can without hitting the inside curb. Turn left for quite a long time. You don't want to exit it too early, otherwise you go into the grass here. Happened to me also many times. So you want to basically exit the carousel once you have that, once you're close to that asphalt here again, which you can see above my cursor. Was very close to the grass as well, so as I said, don't exit it too early, rather exit it too late and lose some time, then hit the grass and go into the wall. Completely floor it. And for this section, for the Galgenkurve, we can stay on the curb on the left side for our entry. Lift a tiny bit and completely attack the inside curb, 4th gear. and we want to quickly be on the power once again. So as you can see, flat, lift, but not a complete lift. We are still staying on it with like 5%, 7%, and once we are close to reaching this one, 100% again. Completely stay on the left side. And here, this is very important. You need to master the line, otherwise your car won't grip and you will just have complete understeer here on the exit. Turn in very, very, very early for this corner. You can even aim to hit the grass at this point. As you can see here, I'm also hitting the grass, because this is where all the grip is for that for the exit of the long straight, and the exit here is very, very, very crucial, so we don't want to mess it up. Turn in quite early, hit the grass, and as you can see, once I'm here, fully floor it, use all of the track on the outside. This was quite perfect, I would say. And then we just have this very, very, very long straight ahead of us, where I'm personally staying in the middle lane, because it's like an old habit of mine. In the past it was faster to stay in the middle, because the car would have less bounce here. But I think nowadays it won't matter too much, so you can also stay on the left side. But I personally like to use the middle lane right here. Passing the famous Bielstein bridge, going downhill into Tiergarten. Close to the curbs, and now for one of, basically one of the most crucial spots over the track, the last chicane. Here everything can go right or wrong. We're using the white markers here. You can see here there's a line, and or like here starts the white line before there's nothing. This is our braking point for the last chicane of the track, for the first corner. You can also basically say, once there's an asphalt change, you will brake. Don't panic though, don't panic. Shift down to second gear, brake like at 80%. Don't avoid to hit the ABS at all costs, or don't hit it too much. Cut the inside here completely. You want to be very, very, very close to the inside wall, but don't cut it too much, because there's like a weird bump, and if you're too far to the left side, you will hit that bump and it will unsettle the car a little bit. So be close to it. You can cut the white line a little bit. I think you can see here the bump, you see, like that little bump can unsettle your car quite easily, and it's worse if you are too tight here to that corner. Second gear, and basically I think from the cockpit it's better to see. Once the curb starts here, it's our turning point. We're going to turn in, fully attack the inside curb here, very early on power again, second gear as well, close to that left curb as well. Absolutely floor it out of this corner. I will replay it again in far chase. So attack that curb on the inside, floor it, close to that one, use all of the track on the outside, and yeah, that was a lap over the famous Nurburgring Nordschleife ahead of next weekend's 24-hour race. This was a 7:58.309. Keep in mind, this was also with the initial bob of the 24-hour race, or basically before the first bob, so there was no bob applied in the Ford Mustang. It was after the latest update though, so when they added the mass and the power reduction, or like where they reduced the torque on this car. It was a very, very good lap, and if you want to see the full replay of that lap, make sure to visit p1docs.com. You can download the pack here, have the replay, have the telemetry file, the B-Lab file, everything. And if you also want to have a look at the conditions we have used for this lap, also visit p1docs.com. You can create an account for free, click on the data pack, and then you will have full access to view the conditions in which we do our laps in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that I could help you guys out with that lap guide. If you have any feedback, make sure to drop it in the comments. If you liked the video, I would appreciate it a lot if you could leave a like and subscribe to this channel. We will push more lap guides in the near future as well. And yeah, without talking too much, thank you guys for watching. Have fun and good luck for the upcoming 24-hour race, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.